It's time to lock in. We're talking SEC, college football, and more. This is AP as we see it.
I'm all about that action. I'm all about that action. I'm all about that action. I said I'm all about that action.
I'm AP Stedham from LA, Lower Alabama. This is AP as we see it, a weekly syndicated 1-hour show discussing the Southeastern Conference, college football on the national scene, and other sports. We'd like to welcome you to the show this week. We want to mention our social media platforms on our YouTube channel, AP as we see it, and at AP Stedham. You can watch all our interviews. Our show is on the at AP as we see it YouTube channel. So check out all our interviews, all the places that we visit. All those interviews are available on those two YouTube channels, on our Facebook pages, on our Instagram, on our X account. And of course, everything is archived on Spotify. We like to mention our sponsors: Greer's Markets, 29 locations, Alabama, Florida, Mississippi. And they have Lucy's book she has about all her recipes that's available in the store and also online. Great recipes. We have groceries to go for your home, your office, any venue you choose. If you can't stop by Greer's, you can go online, groceries to go, and order all the delicious items at reasonable and fair prices. We have the weekly specials online you should check at Greer's Markets. We have the coloring contest for all the children and the special occasions, the holidays, the birthdays, the anniversaries, and of course the graduation parties. And remember, you can get all the fresh produce, the dinner essentials, delicious food and snacks at unbeatable prices. And remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. And our other sponsor, the Cortland Grand Hotel in Atlanta, Georgia, downtown in the heart of Atlanta, spacious rooms. They have a beautiful indoor pool with the ambiance of like you're at the beach or on a desert island or somewhere with all the tropics. And you're right there in the downtown, the heart of Atlanta. They have excellent food. You can have your breakfast cooked on the weekends. There's a buffet breakfast every day. Ben Giacomo and his staff they're great. They're so hospitable, and that's where I'll be staying for the SEC Media Days in Atlanta, mid-July. So check out the Cortland Grand Hotel, Atlanta downtown. Two great sponsors we have. We'd like to mention them and see if you can follow them and patronize them because they would really appreciate it. I would appreciate it. Remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. And the Cortland Grand Hotel downtown Atlanta. We want to mention our guest this week. We're going to bring her on in a second. Segment 1 and 2. Segment 3 and 4, John Garcia, the recruiting analyst for Rivals, national recruiting analyst. But first, we want to bring on our very special guest, April Moore, the mother of Keelon Russell, the University of Alabama freshman quarterback. Keelon is from Duncanville High School in Texas, but we're going to find out about April Moore's background, a little SEC as well. Hey, April, welcome to AP as we see it.
Hey, AP, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a delight to have you here, April. I know you love the college football, and let's tell the folks, you got Tupelo, Mississippi native and Ole Miss graduate. Hotty toddy.
Hotty toddy. You don't want me to go to rest, so there you go.
How was that experience for you, April, watching SEC football?
It literally opened my eyes to what football was. Definitely, I'm from the cheer world, so no, Keelon did not get his athleticism from me. He says he got it from his daddy, but I told him, cut your legs from me. I don't care what you say. But definitely from the cheer world and moving, and I was literally basketball all while I cheered, and when I moved over into Ole Miss, I just fell in love with football. Mainly because of the spirit of football, mainly because of the guys on the team, But definitely, I learned more about football in my 4 years 2 years at Ole Miss than I probably ever knew prior to even going. So yeah, and then definitely conference football. I did not know anything about conference football before going to Ole Miss. Didn't know what conference football was. Didn't know we even had conferences at the time. So I became a big SEC fan. And as you see, I'm still an SEC fan. So
Absolutely. How about an Elvis fan being from Tupelo, or maybe, I don't know. Do you know any Elvis songs? Do you have a favorite Elvis song? Maybe not. A whole lot of shaking
Not
going on, though,
everything.
right?
No. I mean,
Oh,
I can't say I'm not a fan, but I'm not a fan.
right. Yeah,
Like,
you have other preferences, right? Yeah, just
like,
a different preference.
we
That's
all
all.
know we all know a couple of, rock and rolls every blue moon, but definitely not
Right.
going to visit his house or anything like that. I've done that. I went down that road. I've been in Memphis and
Yeah,
been there, but definitely not a big, huge no.
I hear
Absolutely.
you. I hear you. So, April, what was fun for you during that recruiting process?
Literally, you don't think about your child being such a vessel for people to experience this new wave of football. And to me,
Right.
I feel like Keelan was that vessel that because of the NIL. Now, we're going to get into that, of course, but just being able to say, you know what, we can utilize these, visits, official visits, non-official visits, all of these things to just get a better understanding of what coaches want. So just knowing
Yeah.
that coach wanted my baby and then I identified the ones that knew about him and the ones that didn't. But the ones that said, you know what, he's a 5-star, we'll take him, are the ones that's been following him since he was in ninth grade. So
Yes.
that was the fun part, just being able to distinguish who was really about my child and who was not. So yeah,
I hear. I hear.
so the
What
hardest
was
part too.
hardest
Yeah.
part too, right? What were maybe 3 or 4 questions you definitely want answered by the program, the school, or the coach, or something? Yeah.
I will say the first one was, let me see your depth chart. How many quarterbacks is in front of my son? Um,
Right.
That's the main thing. Secondly, he has a twin sister. What can we do for his twin? So that plays basketball. So as they say, reach one, teach one. There you go. That's my thing. And then lastly was, what can you give him that no other school can offer him? It
I
was not
see.
about NIL. It was not about money. Keelan is not a money person, and I don't know if you've ever actually had a conversation with him. Money was never the option for us. It was more about him being able to get to the big stage and learn and go to that next level. And so the main thing is, how are you going to get him to that next level? Yeah.
Hmm. I see. Well, those are all good questions. All good questions.
Yeah.
Uh, April, I was going to ask you, what's some wisdom that you would like to tell some of the moms and the families? Maybe it's 2 different conversations that will improve the recruiting process.
Ooh, Lord Jesus, the wisdom. You know what? I was blessed to have a couple of young ladies that came in before me, the year before Keelan, and they imparted a couple of things on me, and I took that and built on it. But the main thing is, get you a team. If your son is one of those 4-star, 5-star athletes that is probably going to top the charts eventually, and go to a D1, all of those things, get you a team behind you. And when I say a team, I mean agent. I mean, financial management, um,
Hmm.
branding specialist, those type of things, so that your baby can start building and you don't have to worry about it. Like, the more people that you have in your corner, the better it is for you to get an understanding and to be next to your child as he develops into this world that he literally, I'm gonna be honest with you, you're never really ready for. So
Right.
definitely, if it frees you up to be a mother and not a momager, do it. I'm not a momager. And I tell everybody, I never, ever, ever want to be a momager. I'm not Chris Kardashian. I'm no, I don't want to do that. I want to be his mama. I was sent into this world to be his mother. And that's what I'm going to continue to be, is his mother. Now, I will have some say so on some things, but
Yes.
ultimately, I want to be able to just encourage him and say, you know what, child, pick the best route for you. And I definitely don't want to be the one that's saying sign here, sign here, sign here. No, that's not me. No.
Right. Yeah. You like to give some input, but it's collaborative with your son and your family members. And right.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're speaking to April Moore, the mother of Keelan Russell, the University of Alabama freshman quarterback from Duncanville High School, which is in the Dallas area. Just to let people know, if they're not familiar with Duncanville. I was familiar with it because Tennessee had the basketball player, the two sisters. One went to high school at Duncanville. One went to high school in Illinois, and one played at Tennessee. The name escapes me at the moment, but it'll come across me in a minute here. But that's where I knew about Duncanville High School. That athlete, she was a superstar athlete. Yeah. But anyway, we're gonna discuss managing and what your approach is to the NIL and and how you've been received by the Alabama fans and some of your other rituals that you might have for game day. But it's very interesting that Keelon chose Alabama from Texas. I think there's about 1,000 high schools that play football in Texas. I mean, it's a hotbed, of course. But he went out of state, and I think SMU was his early choice. Possibly, was it not right, April? Yeah,
was. Yeah. They warned him over. SMU is still a great school, still a great choice, still.
Oh yes, good school.
In the running. It just, again, we go back to conferences. We go back to the difference in the conferences, the big stage. So you kind of have to look at it that way. But SMU is still going to always be his heart. Like he was up there this week with some of his guy friends. So he still loves SMU. It's home.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I hear you. Okay, we're going to be right back with AP as we see it with April Moore right back after these messages. Hi, I'm AP Stedham for Greer's Markets. If you're planning a big party or for every day, shop at Greer's for delicious food, beverages, and snacks. Save time and money by checking on Greers.com and use Groceries to Go to get your Greer's groceries delivered. Look at the weekly ad for more information. 29 locations in Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi, serving the region since 1916. Remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. And we're back with AP as we see it with our very special guest, April Moore, the mother of Keelon Russell of the University of Alabama, quarterback, the freshman from Duncanville High School. And we just, April, helping me remember the name of Tamika Catching, Duncanville High School, great basketball player, University of Tennessee, the WNBA. But April, you've got a story about your daughter and Keelon together.
Yeah. Well, for those of you who don't know, that Keelon does have a twin sister and she plays basketball. So the year, I want to say it was not this past year, but the year prior when the boys won their state championship, the girls basketball team won state championship. So I had basically, I'm the mother of champions, as they called me. This whole year was a mother of champions. So I had two babies that won state championships in the same year with big rings and everything. So it was pretty awesome. It was a great feeling to know that, I brought these babies into the world and they have accomplished this at the same level, same time. Pretty cool.
That's cool. Awesome. It sure is. Yeah, you have to have a special room for all the trophies now, I'm sure.
Yeah, we did. We took it down. So like my son didn't like, he's like, am I dead? What is all of this? So he wasn't too happy with it. So,
oh my. But April, what's your approach to managing the NIL? I think you dovetailed on that the last segment, but what would you say?
Get you a team. Get a team.
That team, right?
Get a team. Literally NIL, if you're not versed on it, you can really easily get duped. You can easily get taken advantage of. So by it being so new, there is no one person that has it down packed yet.
Right. Very new. Yeah.
Year 4 of NIL. I think year 4 of NIL. So therefore, it's still fairly brand new and it changes every single day. I said there's no laws that change faster than education, but NIL. So educational laws change by the second, and NIL laws change by the second. So literally, if you do not know it, get a team behind you that you trust. Now, let me say that a team that you trust that can give you that education, that can make sure that you're involved on the pieces and the aspects that you need to be involved in, so that you're making sound decisions for your child. Every NIL deal is not for your child. Just because they put some money in front of them, everyone is not a good one. And then all of them are not, are bad ones either. And, even the ones that's long-term, look at investments, look at equity, look at things that your child can develop on as he grows his career. And then 4 or 5 years when he's graduated college, he's already a quadruple millionaire without even, lifting a pencil or lifting a football or anything. So just get a team that's looking at long-term, not short-term. And I think right now, everybody's short-term. I'm gonna be honest with you. Some of these agencies are looking at monetary short-term outcomes. And to me,
Mhm.
luckily I have a great team, IFA, and they know that when I went in, they knew exactly what I wanted. I want long-term investments. I want to see how far the trajectory will be for my child. Don't give me the here and now. I want to keep going.
Mhm.
So of course the here and now is important too, but
Yes.
definitely get you a team that you trust and that you're not willing to sit down and have those hard conversations with. If you can have
Mhm.
those hard conversations with those people that are working with your money, that are investing their time into your child, then who can you have them with? You know?
Right. I think you sold me, April. Can you be my manager? I think you sold me.
Sure. Absolutely. I told you I'm not doing the management thing. I just know a lot about it. I had to do some reading. So yes.
Oh, great. April, you have a game day ritual? Game day ritual?
Not yet. Me and my we were talking about this. I was like, I'm sorry, I had to laugh because I was like, do we need to get like a LeBron and what I can't remember what his wife's name is. Do we need to get like a handshake or whatever? He's like, Mom, you don't remember them. I was like, okay, but I'm gonna try. So literally, I don't know what the game right now, not yet,
Yeah.
but he may come up with something. His game day ritual when he was in high school was he had to have a bag of Skittles and a Gatorade before every game. Hence, that's how he ended up getting Gatorade. But I don't know that's how he got it, but he had to have a
Right.
Gatorade and Skittles, and I made sure that he had the big bag of Skittles every game day, which dentists, frown upon me for that, but still, he had it. But I don't know what we're gonna do this. I don't know. We're gonna have to figure out something. He might have the same one. We don't know. We'll see. We'll definitely see.
To
Yeah.
be determined. I hear you.
Yes.
April, what have you learned about the University of Alabama football program that you'd like to share?
They are enriched in Alabama. When I tell you, and it's no one person, it's not a Nick Saban, it's
Right.
just Alabama. They're enriched in the culture of Alabama. They're enriched in the education. Like literally, there's nothing that they've done in it wrong. I don't know if you follow me, but like right when my son ended up going into the summer program in January, uh, I think by March, I was like, they've done nothing. I can do nothing but give them props. They're awesome because they take care of the kids, they take care of the players, they take care of each other, and they communicate with parents. It's I've learned that they don't play about Alabama football. I will say that. And whoever is the leader of that team, God bless you. DeBoer, I love you to death, but I don't think I could do it. But at the end of the day, it's very challenging, and it's something that you have to have a good sense of yourself to go out there on that field, to go out there and coach,
Yeah.
play, all of those things. So yes, yeah,
Mhm.
Alabama is yep, Alabama is exactly what you're talking about.
What have you enjoyed so far as an Alabama football player's mom?
Um, Everything, I guess you want to say. We
Yeah.
haven't really got into the football player thing yet. Literally, we're still kind of new to that part of it. But just
Yes.
being able to, hop on a flight, go to the games, or go to the, spring game, go to some of the events that he's been invited to. It's been a roller coaster. It's been great. It's been things that I probably would have never done if it was not for this platform that he's on. So definitely just taking advantage of those things. But he has opened up several doors for me, my kids, the family already that literally we probably would have never even seen. So it's been fun. I've learned some things about myself. I'm stronger than I thought I was. So definitely just being a mom and being able to maneuver through all of these things that we've had to do. Now we're in graduation mode. So, you
Right.
can't put one thing aside and just only handle this. You have to do it all. So I definitely thank God for my village. Thank God for my teams that have been here with us. But it's just been fun. I don't want to take the fun out of it. I want to keep
No.
having fun. I
Oh, yeah,
want
for
to
sure. For sure.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. April, so is Keelon, did he go back for his graduation?
Now,
Did he
AP, we
walk
had
with
this
his?
conversation when we was at the war show. You remember this? What did I tell you, AP? What's my son name?
Oh, I got to say
Keelan.
it. I'm not
Keelan.
Keelan. Keelan,
not
not Keelon,
Keelan.
not the
We
Key.
had a whole
I,
we had a whole thing about this.
Keelan.
It's
I
Keelan.
gave him a
I
whole new
know.
name.
I
Who is
blame
he? Yeah,
myself because I put an O in
Keelan.
there, and I should have probably
Keelan.
put an A. I don't know, but
Yeah,
people say
yeah,
Keelon,
no,
and we're still trying to
yeah,
change it.
right. We got the Keelon instead of Keelan. There we
Yeah,
go.
it's supposed
Well,
to be
I
Keelan.
need. Well, I would take the coaching, April. I take the
There you
coaching.
go. It's
You just have to
Keelan. Yes.
remind me a little bit more than once, though.
I
Keelan.
don't think we're gonna ever get it back to Keelan. It's probably we're just gonna adopt Keelon and just take it and roll with it. Because I don't think
Really?
nobody is gonna say it right. It's my fault. It's the way I spelled it. So I blame myself. And like he's like, Mama, you spelled it as on, duh. So I was like, well, yep, that's my fault. All right, but
I don't know. I think
definitely.
we could. Yeah, we could start a campaign here, though. We could start the
I
campaign
mean,
right now.
we did
Keelan.
what they call it when you not a it wasn't a TSA well, we had to sit down and actually explain it to everybody. We was at Panini, and we actually did what is it? Public service announcement.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
And we was like, guys, it's not Keelon, it's Keelan. So nobody paid
Keelan.
attention, but it's okay.
No, we're going to start the campaign right here on this show.
It's
Keelan.
okay.
The
Keelan,
Keelan
that is his name.
campaign for sure.
Yes.
So I was trying to get the traits that he inherited from you. Any other traits that he inherited from you?
Well, they say
About his
he acts
personality.
like
About his
me.
personality. Yeah, his
Yeah,
personality.
they say he
things.
acts like me. We have the same personality, which I couldn't. To me, that's the best trait because I have an awesome personality. But no, but he's not. He doesn't meet strangers. He's very humble, very friendly. He's not Mr. Bougie, like high society. He's not that person. Like we
Right.
literally are. He has some down homeness to him, southern, like he was born in Mississippi, but he wasn't. So I think
I
I
see.
instilled the Mississippi that came out of me into him, into all of my
Right.
children, actually. And I want them to always keep that ground zero level of humbleness because you never know what could happen. Yeah.
No. We got about the last 30 seconds. What's your favorite part of the football that you like to watch that he does? Pass the ball, run the ball, just commanding his team. What was something favorite about for Keelan that you like?
When he is at the 20-yard and he throws a Hail Mary to whoever's downfield and they catch it and they score. To me, that's the most beautiful, and it's a beautiful pass. There's no up downs, there's no waves, there's no wind. It's just beautiful. That is my favorite part, to be honest with you. Like for him to just like show what his arm can do.
Right.
And he's done it like maybe 3 or 4 times where he's been at the 20-yard and literally almost hit the end zone. So he said, Mama, I'm going to be able to throw it from the 10 at one point. I said, well, go ahead then. So him throwing it and just and the receiver actually catching it or whoever catches it,
Right.
that is beautiful. That is the most exhilarating. My mouth probably is like dropped to the floor. I'm like, oh gosh, there's no better feeling than to execute that play and just make it happen. So yeah, that's it.
Hey, that's a great way to end it. April Moore, mother of Keelan Russell. Keelan Russell, you heard her first right here.
You've
I
been
really
awesome.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay,
All right.
we'll be back after these messages with AP as we see it. Thank you so much, April. Hi, I'm AP Stedham for Greer's Markets. If you're planning a big party or for every day, shop at Greer's for delicious food, beverages, and snacks. Save time and money by checking on Greers.com and use groceries to go to get your Greer's groceries delivered. Look at the weekly ad for more information. 29 locations in Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi, serving the region since 1916. Remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. And we're back with AP as we see it. We want to thank our special guest, April Moore, mother to Keelon Russell, the University of Alabama freshman quarterback. But I would like to welcome our guest, John Garcia Jr., National Recruiting Director for Rivals. John and I, we've been friends a long time. He's outstanding. I always refer people to John if they have any questions, because John has seen these players and he does as well as anyone out there in that profession. So John Garcia Jr. Hey, John, welcome to AP as we see it.
AP, good to be on with you, my friend.
My pleasure. My pleasure. John, we were discussing some things prior to the show, and I was fascinated to come up with a list of the top player for maybe the last 10 years, just to reflect And I tell people recruiting, it's not a science, but you do your very best and you try to be more right than wrong. And just, I don't know if you want to start the list off and just give us an idea of start backwards or, chronologically from 10 years ago or start last year, whichever's best for you.
Yeah, well, you just had Keelon Russell's mother on, so I will say that Rivals was the only outlet to have Keelon Russell number one overall in that class of 2025. So certainly there. The two classes we're working with now, 26, Jackson Cantwell, offensive tackle, going to Miami.
Miami.
27, LaDamian Guyton, defensive end out of Georgia, uncommitted right now. So we'll go before that, the last 10 years. Before Russell, 2024, I think everyone had Jeremiah Smith number one. If you didn't, you certainly didn't scout him in person because it didn't take much to move him number one. I think that one is a safe bet in terms
I think so.
Of a hit rate for all of us. Again, this is the Rivals list. 2023, Arch Manning, to be determined. We'll see how it goes. This year, certainly, personally, I think the next 2 years, if he follows both of his uncles who played all 4 years. Go back to 2022. This was a big hit. Travis Hunter, number one overall, got drafted number 2 overall. So it's exactly how you draw it up. Go to 21, Quinn Ewers. Remember, he reclassified. So he was originally in that Travis Hunter class, reclassified up a year, but maintained his number one status on Rivals. Big-time quarterback out of the state of Texas. Of course, went to Ohio State, transfers to Texas, and now is a Miami Dolphin. And then the 3 before that, 2020, Brian Brzee, Clemson defensive lineman, now with the Saints. 2019, Derek Stingley Jr., the only other corner besides Hunter with that number one status, LSU, and then he was in Texas. I believe he was all pro this past year. And then 2018, I think another unanimous number one, Mr. Trevor Lawrence, the face of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
John, that's, I think, batting 1,000, I believe, right?
It depends how you quantify it, right? I think that's been how we've tried to make it mirror the draft as best we can. Of course, we're projecting 3, 4, 5 years in advance, more times than not. So Lawrence was right on the head. Travis Hunter right there. I mean, Jeremiah Smith, Arch Manning, you feel like really good about. But most of these other guys were first rounders, except for Quinn Ewers. So I think those are all considered hits. But like you said, it's an inexact science. Some of the other names that were in consideration are right there, right? Caleb Williams was the number one guy for some people. The Brian Brzee year, Bryce Young was number one for a lot of people. So everybody was kind of in the right ballpark with some of those prospects over the last decade.
Yeah, you can make a case for each and every one of them, but I think all the 10 that you mentioned, even Quinn Ewers, had a successful college career, and so I don't think people would take it against your recruiting analysis if he wasn't a first round draft choice. He played for Ohio State and was there for 5 minutes anyway, and played for Texas and was in the playoffs a couple of years. So I think it's batting 1,000. I would classify it myself personally, but John, we're in the Wild West now with college football. So how would you say the recruiting changed with players? And I would say years ago, you're asking what was my number, and that's the jersey number. But I don't think that it holds true now.
There's no doubt, right? NIL has flipped everything on its head. And I think the portal before that, not too far away, also changed a lot. I mean, the transfer portal changed how college coaches built their roster. It became a roster for today, and not a roster about development, not a roster about 3, 4, 5 years down the road. It became a year-to-year deal closer to that of the professional leagues, right? That's what they do. Everything is year to year. What have you done for me lately? And the portal, I think, re-emphasized that, because not only are you pulling elite talent from other schools, you're losing some talent to some other schools. And as it relates to high school, you're bringing in less high school talent because the numbers are what they are. If a college player can take that scholarship, you would certainly take him and his experience that you've tangibly seen over a high schooler that you don't know how well he will transition to the collegiate level, which is, of course, as you just learned some about, is a huge deal. It's a huge deal, and it's as big and unknown as there is in scouting, especially now in the NIL era. But you throw NIL on top of all of that, and yeah, the Wild West is, I think, the perfect way to put it. It is the usual tracking of recruiting and how we report on it and how we view it is all upside down now, because it's not the same schools for elite prospects. The in-state pool of an Alabama or a Texas or a Michigan or an Ohio State or a Florida doesn't exist anymore, right? That kid who grew up knowing he wanted to play for this school, he'll have that school on the list, but it doesn't mean that's where he's going to go relative to what the NIL packages look like. So yeah, there is no more convention when it comes to recruiting. It is a day-by-day deal, just like the college game has become a year-by-year deal.
John, what would you say is the percentage of high school players who maybe had to drop down a level or are not included in that recruiting class of like they normally be with the Division I schools, the FBS level schools? What would you say? What a relative number?
It's probably close to 20%, which is a huge
20%.
number.
That is.
These were the guys who would be your last 3 or 4 or 5 ads in a given class. And you think of a program like Alabama, those have been, some of the best players that Nick Saban or Kalen DeBoer has coached in Tuscaloosa. Those 3-star guys who jump in at the very end of the game. If you want to scale it back and zoom out even more, looking back over the last, decade or so, if the current rules were in place, does Alabama sign Tua Tagovailoa and Mac Jones in the same class? Absolutely not. No chance.
No way.
You do that because Mac Jones is going to get a different deal elsewhere, right? You can think of any battery of players at the same position. I could go back to the Derrick Henry class. That year Alabama signed at running back Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Alti Tenpenny, and Tyron Jones, all top 100 players, all running backs. Would never happen in this day and age. And remember, the ranking of those guys isn't necessarily how you would view it today, right? I think you would lose out on some of the lore and the depth that made a program like Alabama just so very dominant over such a long period of time, because now that bottom 20% doesn't even consider your school. There's not even space for those guys at your school. And then at the top, trying to bring in a lot of talent at once at one position, nearly impossible, because somebody's going to either lose someone and cycle back to your guy or pull your guy from an NIL standpoint on the front end.
John, who's some of the better evaluators? Let's do by the SEC first and then just nationally, if you could. We got about 2 minutes left. We might have to go into the next segment, but some of the better evaluators of talent. And John, as I always tell people, who should receive the money? If you can find that person that can evaluate the talent and make this proper selection, you are way ahead of everybody.
Well, now it doesn't come down to the head coaches as much as it used to. These programs have massive scouting departments and general managers. I mean, look at Michael Lombardi at North Carolina making $1 million a year, right? So it's an entire NFL-style organization where top down, everybody's evaluating talent. So you do have those coaches that will overstep and go grab a guy they like. Dan Lanning comes to mind out at Oregon. Kirby Smart's doing it at Georgia, certainly. Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss is always one who kind of goes out and gets his type of player. I think Mario Cristobal at Miami, again, another guy who is confident as a recruiter to shake up the board for a guy he likes. But for the most part, these programs are relying on these general managers because they're busy recruiting the top guys and trying to re-recruit the guys on the roster to make sure that they stay. So roster maintenance has become just as important as talent acquisition in the recruiting game. So yeah, everybody's sort of dividing and conquering the best they can, while NIL and tampering and everything else is throwing things in for a loop.
Yeah, John, I think it's fascinating, this era of college football. I don't think we've ever seen so much change. I don't think we've ever seen so many fluid situations. in a number of areas. And I don't know how it's all going to be pieced together, and you're going to have some uniformity for everybody. But anyway, we're going to be back in a few minutes. We're going to continue the discussion with John Garcia Jr., Rivals.com, National Scouting Director. We'll be right back after these messages with AP as we see it. Hi, I'm AP Stedham for Greer's Markets. If you're planning a big party or for every day, shop at Greer's for delicious food, beverages, and snacks. Save time and money by checking on Greers.com and use Groceries to Go to get your Greer's groceries delivered. Look at the weekly ad for more information. 29 locations in Alabama, Florida, and Mississippi, serving the region since 1916. Remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. And we're back with AP as we see it, and our very special guest, John Garcia, Rivals.com, National Scouting Director. We just want to make mention briefly of our sponsors, Greer's Markets, 29 locations, Alabama, Florida, Mississippi. And remember, Greer's got it. They guarantee it. And we want to mention the Cortland Grand Hotel in Atlanta, downtown Atlanta, Georgia. I'll be staying there for the SEC Media Days, and Ben Giacomo and his staff. They are so hospitable, and I recommend you check them out right in the heart of Atlanta, and you can be close to everything, all the action. But we just want to get back to John Garcia. John, this Wild West in college football, you mentioned something. Winning, we thought years ago that you'd get that 4-year contract. You might, let's say you get fired at 3.5 years. Now, I'm telling you, 2 years, that might be the new standard.
100%. It's become really 1 year. I think, if it wasn't for, some of the backtracking a lot of these programs have to do with previous buyouts. You think of a program like Auburn, Texas A&M, Florida State that have gone through a cycle of coaches. If they weren't so backed up, financially, I think these decisions would be more, 12 to 18 months as opposed to 24 to 48. So yeah, it is a totally different game than it once was. And you understand why it does affect recruiting, and it does affect, that lack of development, because it's win now or we'll pay you to not be here, which, sounds nice to you and me, but obviously can stain a reputation in very short order. And it's that part of it's not as new, that you don't get the cushion, even when you win, that you once did. I mean, remember Gene Chizik, remember Ed Orgeron after national titles. I mean, it's still sort of didn't matter back then in the teens, right? So imagine now in 2025 where, everything has a dollar value attached to it to some degree. It matters even less now. So yeah, that window is as small as it's ever been. So who could blame a coach for wanting a 21-year-old quarterback that he saw play at Bowling Green versus an 18-year-old who was, playing, 6A football in Broward County, Florida?
Yeah. John, so do you believe the recruiting now, it's national? I think you mentioned that, really. I mean, somebody from South Florida, they can end up in Oregon. Somebody in Arizona can end up at Penn State, let's say. I mean, it just doesn't matter. The recruits are willing to travel because the games are all on TV, and then their families have the money to travel weekends. And football, there's not many weekends. Sometimes they're coming to your part of the country, so your family can be there.
Right. And now they've opened up the official visit calendar. It used to be when me and you worked together, the official visits began in September. It was about the season. It was about going for game weekends, and you take those trips all the way through January, make your decision the first Wednesday in February. Ever since they pushed the early signing period into December, the official visits have begun earlier and earlier, meaning the teams can pay and fly out 3, 4, 5 members of your camp, wine and dine you for 48 hours and send you on your way. And we've already seen official visits as early as April in this cycle. I mean, some kids are a month in to their official visits, and I've already seen 4, 5, 6 programs across the country, and they're still several months ahead of their own senior seasons in high school football. So that has also opened up the map, the NIL value, all of those things have been thrown into it simultaneously. So yeah, geography is less important, or as least important as it's ever been from a recruiting standpoint. I mean, and it's not just those tier 2 programs. Georgia struggles to keep kids in state. Alabama struggles to keep kids in state. Texas, despite back-to-back CFP berths, still lose recruits to Louisiana, to USC, to Ohio State every single cycle.
Yeah. John, what's on the horizon in recruiting? Is there something that the audience we should know?
Yeah, if you're a college football fan, it's about to become commitment season. So we mentioned the official visits starting a little earlier. June has become the de facto month to take your trips because most programs want to get into that July dead period and focus on the season. And most prospects want to have their decision in before their final year of high school football begins. So the end of June through July 4th is sort of the commitment time of year. So if you're looking at, the team rankings on rivals.com, don't fret if Alabama's in the 20s or 30s. There's going to be a lot of programs, especially with those well-known logos, churning up the list here as we get into June and certainly into July. A lot of kids are going to come off the board. So those teams in the top 10 right now, enjoy it while you got it, because it's about to change in the next few weeks.
John, in this quarterback-centric era, the quarterback is still the prime recruit, we just say, and then after that, what position on offense beside the quarterback and then on defense is the number one priority for teams?
Yeah, I think if you follow the money, certainly quarterback dominates the entire conversation. I think offensive tackle has become even more of a premium, right? Protecting that quarterback investment that you've made. So there's a clamoring for that position. And, of course, wide receiver. I think in the pass-first nature of football at every level, these game-breaking wide receivers, again, we go back to a Jeremiah Smith, can truly, turn a program around faster than most other positions. And then defensively, it's business as usual. If you can rush the passer, if you're a big body on the defensive line, you're going to command plenty of attention. And then same thing on the back end. If you can cover these game-breaking receivers, you're going to be in a good spot as well.
John, about the coaching, have you seen changes in the coaching or something on the horizon that we need to watch out for moving forward? Coaching.
Yeah, I just coaching to win. It kind of goes with what we said earlier. I think you take more risk. If you're down one in the fourth quarter on the road, maybe you think about going for two when you cross the end zone. I mean, it's become that much more of a premium. You do have a little bit more margin for error in a bigger 12-team playoff. So I do think that can create a little bit more risk. But again, the onus to win and try to get in is as high as it's ever been, especially in the SEC and Big Ten. It's a gauntlet, unlike any other. So yeah, I think you're going to see a lot more risk taken with coaching just in general because of the eyeballs and just how much is at stake.
John, the college football playoff started out with 12. The top 4 seeds all were eliminated. What are some of your thoughts about moving from 12 to 14, 16, and some of the reasons that whatever reason you choose, which let's tell our audience?
Yeah, look, I think the more you can do that, the more I think people will be open to it, but you're going to pay for it. Meaning if you're going to be open to more teams, you got to be more open to that professional model, which means a longer season, maybe bye weeks, maybe, some sort of free agency at some point, real free agency. So I just think the further we move with this playoff where everything is at stake, the closer we'll get again to that professional model where, look, education is just not going to matter at these schools. It's going to be about the dollars that they can bring in, and more games will obviously equal more dollars. So you got to pay on the back end for what that could mean. So if we continue in this direction, I think we can all see that amateurism, being stripped from the sport we love, which again, I think has some pros, but it's got some clear cons to it as well.
Remaining 2 minutes with John Garcia Jr., Rivals.com, National Recruiting Director. John, I haven't met very many people who are satisfied or are enjoying this movement by the players, the free agency, the transfer portal, the NIL. And my question is why more people don't enjoy it, because you're still going to watch your team. You're not going to go play tiddlywinks. I don't believe so. You're going to watch your team. You're not happy that the other quarterback is playing for the rival, the wide receiver, defensive back, but why do people, they're so against the situation right now?
Yeah, well, I think first of all, change always sparks, some opposition just in general. And I think, sports is entertainment for us, right? This is our chance to disconnect from the real world and bills and hate and all the things going on at any given point. So you want to romanticize it. You want it to be pure. You want it to be prideful and for the love of, a logo, a team, a state, a city, whatever it
Right.
is. And this empowerment promotes fluidity. It promotes movement. TJ Finley is going to play for his 6th college, at quarterback.
Unbelievable.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just something that comes along with some of the items that have moved into the sport. So it's, again, I think it's a pick your poison. It's going to change. It's going to continue to change. Like you said, you're still going to watch your team, but to think that, player X is, for his whole life has dreamed of playing in this moment for this team and it will be loyal no matter what. I mean, those elements are fleeting. And again, I think that pushes you closer to the professional model, which is it's a job. It's an occupation that these players are assuming. So you have to treat it like that on the fan side as well. But of course, that was the separator between college and professional sports, right? The pride, the regionalism that came with it, the rivalries, and those are going to continue to trickle away. The more money, the more empowerment that continues to push into the sport.
Hey, John Garcia Jr., Rivals.com, National Scouting Director. We want to thank John. We want to thank April Moore, Keelon Russell's mom, University of Alabama freshman quarterback. And John, thank you so much. And we'll be back next week with another episode of AP As We See It. Thank you so much.